Theater has a huge responsibility to remind the public that things could be different. My work is always in a reflection about something which is happening in the world.
Bună ziua, bună dimineața, bună seara, depinde de momentul în care ați ales să dați play acestui Stage Podcast mai special. Noi suntem acum în perioada noastră de vacanță, așa că ne-am permis să ieșim un pic din studioul nostru și să venim într-un alt cadru. L-am alături de mine pe Philip Brehse, profesor de biomecanică, alături de care echipa Teatrului Național din Târgu-Mureș tocmai a avut plăcerea de a face un atelier, un workshop de 10 zile, foarte, foarte intens. Și am vrut să profităm de ocazie, de oportunitate și să discutăm un pic, să vedem cine este Philip, cum a ajuns să facă biomecanică, ce înseamnă biomecanica și cum a decurs acest atelier. Hello, Philip.
Hi.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Sasha.
In another context.
Yeah.
So, the first question is how this journey with biomechanics started for you?
It's hard to answer that very short, but I try.
You don't have to be short.
Yeah, I was
time.
very disappointed with my acting education in America. I'm very classical American kind of actress training, and in our course in theater history, I stumbled upon Meyerhold and pictures of the biomechanics, and it somehow woke up
something
in my head and in my soul, and I had to ask, what is that? And it took years to find anyone who had experience or practical access to the training method in the United States. First was a very big mentor for me, Carlo Altomare, who had been a member of the Living Theater.
Okay.
And then I met the Living Theater, and the Living Theater had been making research, experimenting to try to reconstruct from pictures and from writings of Meyerhold, and they had their own versions of some of the exercises and the études, which later we found out were very incorrect actually, but in spite of that, good training. And it wasn't until the early 90s that I was able to train with Gennady Bogdanov from Moscow, who's probably the most famous and most qualified teacher in the biomechanics, and had the opportunity to train with him extensively 5 times.
Wow.
And this really, I must say, changed my life from the waiting time for almost 20 years to being able to finally have direct with, in a way you can say he is a grandson of Meyerhold, third generation. So
he's very close, the closest you can find in the present. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, nice. I am very impressed about this thing you said, that something was inside you when you saw the pictures. So you saw just pictures, you didn't see any show or something. Just the pictures had so high impact on you. This is very impressive.
Very impressive because I think very much actors tend to think with their heads and
rational actors,
intelligence and their heart. But as now working with for many years as a professor at the Athanor Academy in Passau, to right away at the beginning to train them to work from their whole body, that there's so much potential to express with the whole body, which often they don't acknowledge at the beginning. you can go to the library and read so much about Meyerhold, about the biomechanics, but this year I found a very, very short quote.
Okay.
That basically it's a system of training actors to use their whole body in their acting. Very simple, very non-intellectual, but basically it's that.
I heard a lot of people that are saying that Meyerhold, it's kind of, you can't use it in a show.
Yes.
And you said that about the training, and I think what we learned this 10 days is more for the training than for the actual show.
Yes.
You learn about your body, and in the show, without doing all the movements from the training, you can be more present. Am I clear or?
Yes, you're very clear, Sasha.
Okay.
I think there's a choice. And the one thing I believe very much, if you for a longer time train this method, that it's stored in the body, that you automatically feel the musical rhythm of that you're always constructing one step after the other to separate things and realize that the brain and our soul, we're making decisions many times within a minute, which triggers the body into a new situation. And I know from my students that when I see them on the stage, that they are automatically practicing the biomechanics in a very secret way.
Without being conscious.
Yeah, because it's trained in their body to think with the whole body.
The body somehow contains the training at a point.
I believe, I could be wrong, but it's very much my belief that this gets stored in the body. And but on the other hand, yes, you can very much use the biomechanics in a real theater production. And I do and have been doing this for about 20 years. In fact, I mean, for one thing, if you have a group of actors who don't know each other very well, it immediately trains the musical timing of the group. The connections between the actors.
The connection, it's faster like this.
Yeah.
With the body.
This goes very quickly if you train the biomechanics. You feel the rhythm of the partner very quickly, like you and the wonderful group here in this workshop.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah. But in today's theater, we always have the big question of style that it's a wonderful period in theater where we do not have to play as in film, that it's expected of us to have grotesque
movement
and wonderful for authors like Molière and any author, in fact.
Everything is possible nowadays in theater, on the stage.
Yes.
This is what I think.
And particularly in Germany right now, we have this epoch of the post-dramaturgical style, and it's for today's actors, they really have to be ready to do any kind of style, even dancing, performance art.
You have to know everything, or a little bit of everything.
Yes.
There is no space between arts. This is what and this morning I wrote an application.
Yes.
And there is this place where will be a lot of workshops, dancing, singing, all of the arts. And I was thinking about this, that nowadays the actor should be connected to every art. Like an actor should be a little bit of a dancer, a little bit a singer, a little bit of, I don't know, of everything.
Yeah, I have this feeling like athletes, they have cross training. They perhaps practice the bicycle and they go swimming and they run and they do weightlifting, and it's called cross training. And I think for an artist, for me, this is very much the way I work, I get bored being an actor. Sometimes I take a break and I sing or I go back to the piano, or I write my poetry. And I think an artist, let's be honest, some actors are only actors.
Yes, that's right.
And some actors are really artists. And they're exploring many different disciplines, writing. Also, it's very interesting when actors direct, I find.
They put themselves in another position, with another perspective.
And some directors really know how to work with actors, and some have no idea, and have no idea that actually a human being can't do that.
Yes.
You have to always have this training of the right connection between them.
Between everything.
People.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about being a teacher, a professor in Passau. How is to work with the students? They are very young. I don't know in Germany, but here somehow when we are in the first year at the university, we don't know how to work with our bodies. We are like this, very.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't find the word, but you understand.
I think it's probably universal. I think probably
everywhere.
All beginners. I mean, this is another aspect of the work of. One must remember that Meyerhold was a student of Stanislavski. In addition to Stanislavski's work in the theater, he was one of the pioneers of how to teach. How can you teach actors? And I think Meyerhold continued this work because the idea of an acting school is relatively new. In Asia, it's very old, but in Russia or in Europe, it's
not so
quite a new thing.
Yes.
And I am not alone. I'm part of a larger team.
Okay.
We have a particularly good movement team of teachers. So
that's very good.
They can compare the method which I teach
with another method.
Yeah, so that they have a choice when they're preparing a role. Maybe I use a little bit more biomechanics in this role. Perhaps in this role I forget the biomechanics and can concentrate on
something else.
Another movement.
They gain a lot of instruments to work with them, not just one, not just this method is the method. No, you have access to a lot of methods and you can choose what to use. This is very beautiful.
I think this was something I learned at a very early age, that there's no one way, because in my life I've worked with many diverse kind of artists and also in other branches of the creativity like performance art. And I think that's really a big mistake if young actors believe there's only one way and I'm
going on the right way.
Yeah.
Okay. You said about the performance, and I'm really curious. In these 10 days, I discovered that biomechanics is a very fixed thing. Like the etude, for example.
Yes.
You have a fixed form, you have to do the form. But in performance, for example, everything is a little bit more, not so fixed.
Yes.
A little bit more free.
However, also in the workshop we did a lot of free improvisation.
Yes.
And this is a very interesting aspect of the work, that to use these biomechanical principles to actually improvise, like in our presentation, the table.
The table exercise, yes.
Actually speaking with text. And I have what I call the secret biomechanics.
Okay.
Where we don't show that we're playing biomechanical phrases, but we are
doing it.
Trying to separate things into concrete phrases. Meyerhold's idea was to train really large and very strict and disciplined. And then when that's ready, and the body is prepared and understands this very fixed form, like in the etudes, to begin to experiment, to make things much smaller, or to speak in the etudes, or to in fact use the face and the
mimic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he started from something very fixed, and after that you can do something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I was surprised. Unfortunately, there's only very short documentation of his actual productions. There's only a few short passages of the Reviser from Gogol.
Yes.
And it's very interesting. If you're a biomechanic practitioner like me, you can see their cleanness and their ability to abstract, to perform normal actions in a way which is a little unusual.
Okay, just a little.
Yeah. And but you don't see etudes. You don't see that everything is constructed like one of his etudes.
Okay.
He only did that in one production, The Magnanimous Cuckold, from Ostrovsky, and there he really wanted to make a radical show of the technique of the biomechanics, and the whole production was in a way an etude.
Okay.
Very radical. It's very funny to read what the critics wrote, because
they didn't like it.
What's all this gymnastics on the stage? What's the meaning of all this hopping around?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think this balance between very fixed movement and something like improvisation, what we did in the presentation, in the workshop, is very beneficial to the actor, because at the university here we study Suzuki method, I told you, and there also Suzuki, it's combined with the viewpoints. So it's something very free with something very fixed also. So the actor can find the balance between those two things. This is very important, because maybe not all the productions have to be very fixed. So you have to find how to use your body after the fixed training, but with the freedom.
In a way, it sounds like a similar path.
Yes, it's kind of similar. There are differences. I think Suzuki is a little bit harder than what we did in these 10 days. Harder for the body and a little bit more stiff, like this. In the biomechanic, it's a little bit like you fly, and then after that you are fixed.
Yeah.
In Suzuki, you are fixed all the time.
I understand.
Yes.
I must be honest, I've in the past year I started hearing about the Suzuki method, and I have no experience with it, and it sounds quite interesting to me, because as usual there's always parallels between this and that, different methods, and
I think they are similar because of the discipline.
Yeah.
And because they have this concept of training the actor, like an athlete, like you said.
Yes.
Like an athlete, you are training also the actor. And this is a thing that is similar between those methods. But if we stay to analyze them, the Japanese are very different from the Russians.
Yes.
So.
But I must say, Gennady Bogdanov is a very different teacher than me. He's very strict. You work 10 hours.
Whoa.
Double. You completely destroy your body to the point of exhaustion and even crying. I don't know how many times we cried just from pain and exhaustion. And over the years, I've gotten softer, which is not so good. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, as I get older, there's something a little bit unnecessarily cruel about this. So I can't do that with my students at the Athanor because they have too many different themes every day. They have preps to change their, turn their brain around 6 times a day. You know, they have theater history, an academic course, or singing, or they have monologue, and then they have scene study, and then they're also in a production, and
there are a lot of things, so it would be very difficult to be so strict.
Like a lot of my work there is dedicated to helping them deal with their exhaustion, or that their mind is
unfocused,
full of too much information.
I had a discussion with Elena in a break those days, and she told me that the school in the past was much more difficult than it is now.
Yeah.
And what you said about Bogdanov, that he was more strict than you are today.
Yeah.
And somehow I think this is how everything goes. We are a little bit softer, young actors.
Yes.
Life is a little bit different. Like you said, there are a lot of things in our mind. We are split in a lot of directions. So maybe this made you softer, like the context.
Yes, it's adjustment with time, because it's really true, and I'm old enough to say this, that we're changing, we human beings, that back again to the talking about the beginners, some come and they've done a lot of sports, or they've done a lot of dance, and some come and they have no body. They have no consciousness of their body. They've grown up in their computer and
on the phone,
games, and they don't go out and play as children.
Yes.
I mean, you see both. In fact, but in the movement department, we talk about this a lot because we're noticing this change in the youth. And I think also the corona affected us more than we think.
Corona changed a lot of things, even if it's very hard to accept it. But
yes, the surprise was that a lot of people got used to and enjoyed the isolation.
Yes, I enjoyed
We have a kind of discussion at the school now, because some academic teachers said, well, I don't have to come to school, I can do my course online. And I think this is really not good. I think it's possible, yes.
Yes, but
I can see it's possible, but
in emergency situations,
direct, contact with the students.
The connection is very important for the student also, and for the professor, I think, because you can see the body for you can see the body of the student, you can work directly with the body. Online, there is no life between two people.
But another aspect is the world politics, in fact. I mean, I come from the Living Theater. It's a very politically oriented ensemble and work, and my work is always in a reflection about something which is happening in the world. And I think also people are there's a lot of fear.
Yes.
We're very we are in the Third World War, and we don't talk about it. And it's an atmosphere of fear which has different effects in different countries. In my homeland, there's a rise of racism and police brutality and violence among the people, and amok law, I don't know how it's called. You like children running into the school and shooting their class and teachers with a gun. This is
everything is possible, and in a bad way.
Yes, So it's a beautiful world still, but we're in danger. And I think subconsciously we feel this a lot.
Yes,
and
of course.
We don't really talk about it very much.
It's like I don't know if you have this, but we have in Romanian the elephant in the room. Like it's something there, but we pretend there is not.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
The elephant in the room. Very good.
Like
exactly.
This is what happens nowadays in the world.
Yeah.
We pretend there's nothing there, but we can feel all those consequences.
Mm-hmm. True.
I have a question about what you said, because I'm really curious what you think. You were in the living theater and you said about the political side of the theater, and I'm really curious what you think. Theater should be more social or more entertainment?
For me, I think the theater has a huge responsibility to remind the public that things could be different.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very terrible when the theater tries to teach people or use the pointing finger, and you can't live like this.
Okay.
We can't change the world as artists, but we can help people to look at things in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, in an intellectual way, this is very much hand in hand with the work of Meyerhold. Like, I shake your hand, but
yes.
I never saw it like that.
Okay.
I never thought about it like that it could be a game.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think we need entertainment, of course. I'm not opposed to shutting off the political mind and just hearing wonderful songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I must think at this moment of Judith Molina, the co-founder of the Living Theater, who surprised me when she said, she was asked once in an interview about what is political theater. And she says, I'm not interested in that question, because I believe that every act of an artist, if someone sings a song which has nothing to do with politics, and if someone does a beautiful dance and has nothing to do with politics, it is political, because it's the expression of the human soul.
Okay.
And what our real work is to maintain and develop humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're doing that in our artwork, that it's already a very necessary work against being a victim of repression and becoming a zombie in the culture and living your life with no feeling, no compassion for other human beings, no sense of the world just around you.
Yes.
You know. That stays very much in my mind from Judith Molina, to remember this. You don't have to break your head and think, this play is not political enough, it's not teaching, it's not, don't work so hard. If it's a beautiful piece of artwork, it will
do the job.
Yeah.
Yes. So you don't believe in the thesis theater?
The what theater?
The theater that says, like you said, shows us the point.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, because there are a lot of artists that believe in this kind of theater, and they think that with their art, they show the good perspective. Yeah,
you see, Judith Molina is a huge mentor for me. One of the most beautiful directors I ever had, and inspiring directors I ever had. So many things remain in my head. And she said, I always think when I act that audience member knows more than me.
Mm-hmm.
he's more intelligent than me. I
Smarter.
can't teach him. And if I try to teach him, there's going to be conflict, because then we'll be in, to always have this tremendous love and respect for the audience and not abuse them.
The audience is not stupid at all.
No.
Yes, you don't have to show them
Yeah.
everything because they understand.
Yes.
If you could go back in time, what would you do if not theater, if not art?
I was always torn in my youth. First, I began with music. I actually went to conservatory with the oboe.
Okay.
And I loved music. I played the violin, the piano, and sang. And at a certain point, I kind of had to leave this behind. I mean, you saw a video of my production.
And I saw the production.
I did the music, and that was great fun for me. But I think that I'll end with a spooky little story. My grandmother, when I was about 4 years old, I was playing in the lawn, and she was watching me for a really long time. And our grandmother was very telepathic.
Okay.
She really scared us sometimes because she told us about things. How do you know that? And they really came true. Mm-hmm. She said to me, "You're going to be a dancer." And I was actually really confused by this psychologically, because I knew I have to move, and I neglected this. At that time I was a very skinny little boy.
Okay.
And then I had my tonsils pulled and I became really fat.
Wow.
And so I had panic about movement. I didn't play sports. I was afraid of the balls. Okay. My older brothers were jocks. They were all like baseball stars and foot fit. Mm-hmm. And I was afraid of sports. And then when I finally went to acting school, they told me I'm hiding my body. Mm-hmm. And I just dropped the weight, disappeared. And so I always have felt sad that I didn't, I missed my youth in movement. I think in my teenage years, if I was participating in sports or taking dance classes, that my life maybe had gone in a different direction.
Maybe, but
yeah,
there's nothing you can do now.
But like my ballet teacher used to say, "You have great legs, Philip, but you have no shoulders, so forget it."
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like here in Târgu-Mureș?
Very much.
It's the second time for you?
Second time, yes.
Yes. You were, the first time was at the Studio Festival in November.
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
With the show.
Yes.
You have to tell me the name of the production because I forgot it.
White Color Guard, The Powers That Be.
The Powers That Be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was just talking this morning with my partner Lars Crosby, who did the music for the workshop, and there's a very big difference in the cultural feeling here in Romania and in Germany.
Yes.
And we're finding on the street people are friendly to us, open to us. We get in conversations and we play with children. In Germany, you play with children and the parents are afraid. What are these?
What do they want?
Strange men playing with my daughter, my son. There's a certain walls in Germany. I'm sure they're here also, but just in general.
The atmosphere is different.
Yeah, and also I think there's a tendency back to the theater, like that the German actors tend to lead with their brain. Okay. It's a very intellectual theater, and that's why I'm important at the school. Like, don't think about it, just do it.
Just do it.
And
the action.
just a certain nature of the Romanian people. Just
we are passionate about everything.
You see this in the members of the ensemble here at the workshop.
Yes.
Great passion. They give their heart. They kill their body and laugh. And there's a certain kind of skepsis. You know, if you get in the train and ride from Passau to Berlin, no one talks. It's like taboo.
Everybody
maybe it happens 1 in 10 times that you have a friendly conversation with someone.
And it's something strange.
You don't know this person, you don't
talk.
Here's a kind of
a wall.
Strange wall.
Okay.
And so it was very enjoyable here because it was like I felt freer here. Quite a bit more free.
We are waiting for you next year also, every time you want. Maybe at the Studio Festival, I don't know.
Perhaps,
so we'll
yeah.
See. Thank you very much for this discussion.
Sasha, thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Mulțumim foarte mult că ne-ați urmărit. Vă așteptăm să dați subscribe, like, share, toate cele paginii noastre de Facebook, contului de Instagram, contului de YouTube, bineînțeles. Vă dorim o vacanță minunată, ne întoarcem în septembrie cu forțe proaspete.